In this world where adventures, incessant travels, social media posts, and achievements are valued and recognized over time spent in solitude, reflecting on the why, what, and how comes of life, the outcome is consistently the same. We produce a community who are unable to be at peace and rest when they're left to themselves, alone in their own presence. It frightens some, causes anxiety to others, and for many, deep distress and even depression. Hello, I'm Jerry Silversealan, and if these are the sort of topics which interest you, do consider subscribing for notifications of new content. Let's look at 3 points on why it's so important to be comfortable in our own presence and how we can start getting cozy with our own self. Point number 1. Restlessness is a curse to you being in a state of peace and being free. A man can be himself only as long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. For it is only when he is alone that he is really free, said Arthur Schopenhauer. We cramp our working life schedules full to the brim with activities, tasks, and appointments, and when we retire, we pack it again with plans to travel with friends and for adventures we didn't have the time or money for earlier on. We are used to raising the workaholic and restless people on a pedestal as if they are our role models, and then we wonder why our hearts are troubled and unable to rest when the light dims down, the sounds fade, and it is time to be with ourselves. We find that we are actually strangers with our own being, and uncomfortable to be left alone in this stranger's company. We don't know what we should be thinking or telling ourselves. We try to call or text someone to distract us, or we play the radio or the TV in the background non-stop. But we will never escape the inevitable fact. The only consistent company we will ever have in this life is our own self. Point 2. It's unsustainable and unrealistic to expect consistent company. We can plan to have people and sound around us throughout the day and night, but we will find that we can be in a crowd but still be lonely. In fact, the more we need to be surrounded by people and noise incessantly, the more the chances are that we are in effect very lonely people. How long can we sustain having the same people around us anyways? Our children will move on with their own commitments at some stage. Our partners will start to get annoyed if we constantly display signs of codependent behavior. And our friends, they have dreams and goals to achieve for themselves. So what do? Which brings us to point number 3. We need to value and invest in time, spending time with ourselves. There is a huge difference between solitude and loneliness. Loneliness is a state of loss, marked by despair and hopelessness. Solitude is a healthy and positive state of being alone without being lonely. So how do we start getting comfortable with solitude? It doesn't happen automatically. We need to learn to value it first, then plan to schedule times of solitude into our lives regularly. Learn to set apart time to be alone. Read books, learn a craft, write your thoughts down, reflect on them. Grapple with questions which have never been answered by philosophers and others till date. You don't necessarily need to find the answers, but it's important you interrogate them yourself. Albert Camus, in his notebooks 1951-59, wrote this: find meaning, distinguish melancholy from sadness, go out for a walk. It doesn't have to be a romantic walk in the park. Spring at its most spectacular moment, flowers, smells, and outstanding poetical imagery smoothly transferring you into another world. It doesn't have to be a walk during which you'll have multiple life epiphanies and discover meanings to no other brain has ever managed to encounter. Do not be afraid of spending quality time by yourself. Find meaning or don't find meaning, but steal some time and give it freely and exclusively to your own self. Opt for privacy and solitude. When we have reached a point of becoming comfortable with our own company, we will find that restlessness and longing to be surrounded by background noise and chatter lose their influence over our lives. You may remember the words of William Wordsworth from your old school days. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. We need to look forward to reaching the state where we start thriving and enjoying the treasures which solitude holds within. May Sarton put the relationship between loneliness and solitude quite bluntly. Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is the richness of self. We need to work towards arriving at a stage of our lives where we can be alone but not lonely. For being at peace with oneself starts with not just accepting the fact that we are in a sense mostly alone in this journey of life and making peace with this constant companion, but embracing the beauty and solace in this walk with our own being. Thank you.